Welcome
to the joy of coding.
Hello, and welcome to what episode is this? 416 of The Joy of Coding. My name is Mike Conley. It's so good to have you here. Gonna be working on some Firefox stuff, gonna be live hacking. I'm coming back off of a couple of weeks of travel and skipped episodes because of both travel and unavoidable meetings. So I think it's been about a month, and we're gonna see whether or not I've got the stamina and the wherewithal and the gumption to do a full stream session. We'll see how it goes. Well, let's start by sharing my screen. That's usually the first step. Hey, it's September 24th, 2025, episode 416. Like always, I'll start this episode by saying no plan survives breakfast. I think I know how today is going to go. I think I know, well, I actually don't really know what I want to work on today beyond just sort of like a higher level sort of subject area. We're going to develop what it is that we want to work on kind of as the episode goes. I'll explain when I get there. But things could go wrong throughout, like if the plan could go sideways, or the plan might be impossible, or who knows what'll happen. And we'll deal with the situation as it unfolds. Also, I'm dog sitting, and there's a dog at my feet who it really wants my attention. So sorry, buddy. You need to relax. If you're hearing dog noises, it's because of that. We're dog sitting. So yeah, he may interrupt me, and that's also something that I didn't plan for. So anyways, we're just gonna deal with things as they come. The second thing is that the agenda that we're looking at is something that you have access to. If you're watching this on Air Mozilla, check out the video details over there. If you're watching this on YouTube, check out the video description underneath the video. And if you're watching this on Twitch, check out the channel details for information on information on where you can get the agenda. Just check out the channel details. There should be some links under there. Okay, well, let's just get right into it. Well, the first thing I'd like to do, I think I started this pattern a couple of episodes ago, maybe towards the beginning of episode, not immediately at episode 400, but sometime after that. We've started to look at the HTTP code associated with the episode number, just as like a brought to you by. And this episode is brought to you by Status Code 416, and Keanu.codes shows this image, which I don't actually know what movie this is from or what piece of work. He kind of looks animated, but it's hard to tell. Something's kind of fishy going on here. The only animated film I know about with Keanu Reeves is, or the only one I think I've seen is Scanner Darkly, and I don't know if that's this one. But the status code, the associated status code, let's take a quick peek and see what that's all about. Oh, so hello, Smurf D. Smurf D says, welcome back. Well, thank you for having me. So, range not satisfiable. I have a guess as to what this means. So range not satisfiable is a client error response status code that indicates that a server could not serve the requested ranges. The most likely reason for this response is that the document doesn't contain such ranges, or that the range header value, though syntactically correct, doesn't actually make sense. So the 416 response message should contain a content range indicating an unsatisfied range, that is, a star followed by a slash, and then the current length of the resource. For example, content range bytes, star, and then it says content range bytes star slash 12777. Interesting. When encountering this error, browsers typically either abort the operation or request the whole document again without ranges. If it was a download, it might be considered non-resumable. So yeah, it is possible for you to request a range of bytes sometimes from an HTTP request. Like when you do a GET, you can be like, hey, I want this file, but I actually want bytes 1000 to 1999. I think that's inclusive. I don't actually know. And then it's possible that, well, this file might actually be not as large. Maybe it's only 800 bytes long, so getting bytes 1000 and 1999 makes no sense. We're way out of range, in which case, yeah, we're going to get back a range not satisfiable error. So that's interesting. Range not satisfiable. Neat. And that's brought to you by this Keanu code right here. Image, it's, I guess, Keanu in a desert. All right. So what do I want to work on today? Well, I'm hoping we can continue what we were working on in August, which was that we had this tool that we were developing for the train hopping mechanism that we're using on the new tab page. And I wanted to keep working on that. Here's the to-do list from the last episode. And I wanted to sort of like I've been working on it since that episode. I like kind of poked at it here, poked on it there. And I want to like kind of revisit these to-dos and see if they need to be updated. That's where I want to start. Hey, cut it out. Cut it out, doggo. And then I think we can maybe work our way forward with whatever it is that we decide on. Okay. So to-do, query GitHub for the most recent revision SHA. I actually think some of this we're already doing, maybe even at the end of the last episode. Let me actually show what we have so far. I think what I was doing is I had it installed inside of, as an extension, as a temporary extension inside of an instance of release. Let me just update this thing to the most recent release. There you go, nice and calm. This dog, who I don't think it's possible for me to give you a camera angle on him just yet, but I promise you you're gonna be my accountability. I'm putting this out in the world. You're gonna have to hold me accountable. We're gonna go on a long stroll after the stream and get him nice and exercised. We went on a long one this morning, but he seems to have a lot of energy. So we're just gonna do our best to burn some energy. Okay, so let us install our extension, and it's currently unsigned, so I'm gonna load it as a temporary add-on. Here it is, and then there is this is the UI that we had gotten to, and we reached the point where if you don't supply it with as an SHA, a SHA, as I think I was using that word a lot during the last episode, it'll just go and attempt to get the most recent one, and now it's providing a report. I got it to actually check the most recent train hop jobs, and I've got these like lights. I've got green, yellow, and red to indicate whether or not things are going well. Right now they're yellow. We actually have a train hop compatibility problem on Central that we know about and we're working on fixing, but this is an excellent opportunity to test whether or not this is working in the wild, this indication. Because right now, let's take a quick look at the actual task cluster job on Central that it just pulled. Central. So it's looking at this one here, and if we look at the train hop jobs, they are all orange. That is a known issue. We have a known issue that we're working on fixing. But why is this then yellow and not red? Well, that is because some of these tests fail intermittently. And so when they fail just one time, yellow indicates, hey, maybe re-trigger those because maybe that's just an intermittent failure. I mean, the fact that they're all orange is a pretty bad sign. But what I want to do actually is re-trigger these one each and see if these turn red. Because the rule that I set up in the UI is if there are two failures and no passes, two or more failures and no passes, then they go red. And that's what I will expect to see. So that's the first thing. So we've done that. It will go and get the most recent revision. We are getting the train hop job status. That's done. We're getting the new tab stuff. We got the locales report. We're actually done, I think, all of these things. I haven't done the JQ thing yet. I'll probably wait a little while. I'm hoping to clean this up a little bit. Like, one thing jumps out immediately to me is that there is this like weird semicolon here. I don't know where that came from. I'm not super happy with the layout of things here, especially this very long report on the locales and the various missing strings in the locales. And it also appears that in some cases we show an empty list for, like, I'd want this to tell me how many are missing per locale, and I want this to be easier to read if possible. So let's start constructing a new to-do list. So I'm going to get rid of these things. And instead, I'm going to get rid of spurious semicolon. That's easy. Maybe we can actually turn these into to-dos. Yeah. What else? Test that jobs go red if there are more than 2 failures per job platform pair and no passes. So we're currently testing that, and those jobs, when we re-trigger them, shouldn't take too long. These jobs run in about 4 or 5 minutes. So we'll actually know if that works, at least for Linux. Oh, actually for all 3 in a couple of minutes, because the jobs are running right now. So that's good. What else? I want to clean up the UI a little bit. What do I want? How do I want to? I want to clean up the UI a little bit. I want to clean up the locales report in a couple of different ways. One is I want to not show detail expanders, not show rows if there are no empty, or if there are no missing or pending strings. I want to not show rows. I want each locale row to tell me how many are missing and how many are pending. And then when expanded, I want the list to be more readable. And maybe to link out to another tool. Like, there's something called Transvision, which maybe this could link to. Transvision like if I let's pick a string here. Let's pick new tab custom row selector. Which locale is this? This is AZ. Source locale, target locale. So ENUS, I guess. The target locale is AZ. Search for strings, custom row selector. No matching results for new tab custom row selector for the locale ENUS. For real? No matching results for the string new tab. These results are available. I don't actually know. Strings and entities. There we go. It's an entity, I guess. Warning, missing string in AZ. So I wonder if what I can do is I could link to Pontoon. Maybe that's better. I'll link to Pontoon. You tab custom row selector. Now this is in Azerbaijan. String. What else is supplied here? Oh yeah, there's the locale. So maybe I could link to the original ENUS. Oh, it actually lists, like, it shows me the ENUS version here. So that's good. So yeah, I can link to this missing one. Let's choose another one. Let's say something more interesting, like to-do lists empty call to action, which if I recall, it's like the possibilities are endless, add one. So let's add the string ID here. The possibilities are endless. Add one. Cool. Search identifiers true. Search exclude source strings true. What happens if I turn that off? Yeah, and just like search the one. That's probably what I want. Cool. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna link to Pontoon. Link out to Pontoon for the missing string. Showing of some cool locale tools. That's right. Hey, did you know that if, I don't know what languages y'all speak out there, but there is an opportunity to help localize stuff. You can, as a volunteer contributor, if you speak one or more languages and one of those languages is English, or you don't even need to be able to speak it, but if you can read it and you can write it, you can help us localize stuff. It's, you know, we have a fairly vibrant volunteer contributor community helping us translate different things to get our strings to be meaningful, not just in English, but into a whole bunch of different languages. I mean, you can see the full list right here, all the languages, the locales that we try and support. And there are some that are just missing. And when we're missing a string, we fall back to other locales. Sometimes that falls right back to English. Sometimes there are other fallbacks that make sense before we get to English. But if you want to help out your region, maybe you speak, I don't know, maybe you speak German. Well, there are no missing strings in German, but maybe you speak, I don't know what region this is, IS. Let's see what, if I put IS here. Icelandic. Do you speak Icelandic? Maybe you could translate this. The possibilities are endless. Add one. And it doesn't necessarily need to be a word-for-word translation. It's just like what conveys that same meaning in Icelandic given the context that it's in. So the comment, add one means adding a new task to the list. And it's for the new tab strings for a new tab and for the to-do list that was created on August 12th. So there's just a lot of interesting information here. So this tool, pontoon.mozilla.org, if you have an account, you can log in. If you don't have one, you can create one. It's free. And you can just hop right in and start helping us translate things into different languages. And it absolutely helps us out. If you want to be extra awesome, find some strings that are missing for the new tab page and help us translate them, because that helps my team out directly. Yeah, so these are the variations on that string in the different locales. What does it say for French? Les possibilités sont infinies. Ajoutez une tâche. I don't know if I pronounced that correctly. My French is pretty bad. But how about Canadian English? Let's see if I can do it in Canadian English. I don't think there is a Canadian English translation for it. But here it is in Great Britain. Hello, the possibilities are endless. Add one. That's my... Hello, Mary Poppins. That's my really bad Dick Van Dyke impression, which is a very bad impression of someone speaking with a Cockney accent. Hello, Mary Poppins. So over the top. Dick Van Dyke, what a treasure. Oi, governor. Exactly. So to be clear, I'm doing an impression of Dick Van Dyke's impression. Okay, so I think that's a nice compromise. I'll link to Pontoon. I don't need to be signed in, it looks like. It'll just link right to this resource. So that's great. We'll do that. Let's see if we can do that today. What else do I want to do? I mean, this list is so long. It'd be nice if this was like constrained and scrollable. I want the locales list if possible, be constrained and scrollable, or I don't know. I don't like this massive list that I have to. I guess I'll still need to scroll through it if the list is scrollable. Something to think about. Okay, so these have all started to come back failing. So let's rerun our compatibility report, or compatibility check to see if these go red. And haha, they did go red. So that's good. That is failing, 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 failing. And that is the right call. So that is working. I think this is enough work for today. Let's see how far we get. Let's get rid of the spurious semicolon. I don't know where that's coming from, but let's see if we can find out. So it happens just above this, like the jobs report. Let's see, jobs report. This is, sorry, I gotta get in the right editor here. Train check. Don't be in there. Don't be in there. Don't be in there. Don't be in there. Where is it? So the jobs report is here. I don't see it. It's under the compatibility jobs report, under the title, which is here. And then I see table. You know what it is? It's this. It's right there, I think. Is it there? Return. Yeah, because I'm outside of the JavaScript. I'll bet you if I remove that semicolon, that's gonna do it. Yeah, gone. Okay, great, found it. Row 33. I thought it would be this, but it's not. That is expected. That's valid JavaScript. The reason that it was it's this one is because what we have here is a template string, and here is where the JavaScript is being injected via that template string, and the outside of the template string, like the template string, the interpolation ends at the closing brace here, and so this semicolon just ends up hanging out outside of it. So we got rid of our semicolon. That's good. All right, let us now focus on cleaning up the locales report. Main new tab is 7 days newer than WebExGlue version. An engineer must run. Another thing I want to do is I want to link to if new tab.ftl in nightly is newer. I want to link to a readable version of it, or rather link to its revision log. And then this this assertion is too strong. It is too strong. It might be blocked. It's up to us to decide. In this case, yes, even though the locales file is newer, we added a string that's actually not exposed in the UI yet, so it's fine. So we'll go ahead and update that string. Okay, so let's start cleaning things up. Let's start by removing in the locales report. I guess I can stop. Oh, I do have to do some like computation in here. So we'll have to do the computation as well. Compute strings that are missing versus pending. That means a missing string is one that has been on the beta channel for at least 3 weeks, but has not yet been translated. And pending one is one that has not yet had a chance to be on the beta channel for 3 weeks, because that's the social contract we have with our volunteer contributor community who does translations, is they get 3 weeks on the beta channel to translate things. I'm going to do that second. For each locale. So only if there are missing strings. If I'm gonna say let missing strings const missing strings equal that. If missing strings, do that. Something's wrong with our key. Why are you upset? This is upset about something. Function. Missing strings. Do I have the braces correct? Yeah, missing strings. And then we're going to map each missing string. And then when we get to the end, oh yeah, where is this? There. That is what was wrong. Otherwise, return null. Null means to have nothing there. Okay, so now I'm pretty sure there were some missing strings in some of these, but there were ones that have no missing strings in others. I think it was, who had no missing strings? BE. BE. I would expect BE to go away. And DE. And ENUS. Definitely. So let's see if that's true. Reload. And now it doesn't render at all. Let's see here. There's an exception. Missing string is not defined because it should be missing strings. Try again. Okay. Yes, it's missing there. ENUS is gone. That's good. That's good. Okay, so we have, I think we have what we want. That's good. Only things with missing strings. I think I'm also, there's a way to have this be an accordion, and I don't know if I want that to be an accordion. Like, do I want these to be able to open multiple at a time? It seems because the lists are so long that that would not be helpful to be able to open multiple at the same time. So maybe for now, let's make it an accordion. And there's a really nice way these days of making an accordion without JavaScript, and that's to use the name attribute on the details element. Check it out. Accordion. So if you set the name attribute here, multiple named disclosure boxes, so only one can be open at a time, you can get this sort of behavior where you've got an accordion, but you didn't need to use any JavaScript to pick and choose. You just have to set the same name on all of the details. So I'm going to do like name equal locale. And let's see if we can get our accordion behavior. So ace, and now I'm going to open, let's unfold Atch. Okay, that's working. It is a bit annoying that I have to scroll around so much. It works if I'm not going down. GL. Okay, that's not bad. So it can cause the layout to kind of shift around, but I might be willing to accept that. I also don't think that I think the numbers are probably superfluous. So we can go like list style none. And then I think the font could also be smaller. Also, because these are identifiers, font family monospace. Yeah, something like that. And then each of these we could like link out to the. Could you put the contents into a scrollable div and limit the height? Potentially. I do want them to be linkable. So I don't know if a text box makes sense, but maybe, yeah, maybe the contents should be scrollable rather than the entire list of locales. Or the entire list of locales will scroll the whole page, but like maybe when you open one up, you get like just a fixed size region that is scrollable. Well, let's start by updating the style here in our locales report. What I'm going to do is I'm going to say, yeah, if we've got a list style. Oh, I've got the wrong one selected. Ordered list. We're going to say ordered list, list style, none, font family, monospace. Let's take a look now what that looks like. No, incorrect. That's not right. Did I not target that correctly? Font family, style. Do I need to like reload? Maybe I need to reload. Oh no. Reload. Reload. Now the dog's snoring very loud. Okay, good. That is what I wanted. And now I want each of these to link out to Pontoon. So let's have each of them become a link. A ref or like const Pontoon link equals something like this. So we're going to put the key in there. And then the fluent key in here. Missing fluent key in there. And then we'll say a ref Pontoon link target equals blank. And then do that, and let's see what happens. Yeah, all right, so promo card body. Doesn't know what I'm talking about. Did I not generate that search link correctly? Did I need to provide something else? CKB. CKB, what? It's Kurdish. Okay, let's say ENCA. So search. That is somehow the wrong URL. And whereas this one, did I have to supply like search identifiers equals true? Maybe I needed search identifiers equals true. Yeah, I needed search identifiers equals true. Okay, let's try it again. ENCA. Close. Yeah. Copy. List to clipboard. These are the strings that are missing. Very good. These are the ones that are missing for this locale. ESES. I gotta believe that that's Spanish. Spanish, Spain. Try it now. Pueblo. This was provided a week ago, so we actually have some strings now here that we could update with, so that's good. Some of these can be provided. enjoying that. Do not show rows. There are no necessary pending. I want it to link to Pontoon. I want... Let's try Smurfy. Let's try your idea, or whose idea? Craig's idea of having a fixed size on the list of strings, and then having that be scrollable. So let's see. Height 500 pixels. Overflow Y. Scroll. Let's see what happens. I got... Oh, you know what? I think I had to reload. I have to reload. For some reason, the CSS doesn't cause a repackage. Okay, so that I've got like scrolling on top of scrolling, which I don't love. But yeah, okay. What else can we do to make this better? The height is 500. I think I want the width. Display flex direction. Actually, do I want the list to be flex? No, I want details to be flex. Display flex. That's more like it. That's what I want. Details flex. Now why is missing strings so indented? Oh, display flex direction column. That's what it is. But then and then I want the list to flex 1. I want like flex shrink. Basically, I want it to shrink wrap. I'm trying to remember how to do that. This feels like something I should remember how to do. You got an order list. The height is statically defined. I want the width to be as big as it needs to be. So like width, fit content. That's what I want. Do I even need the flex at that point? Probably not. Just need... That's what I want. Maybe that'll do for now. Let's try this. So ordered list with fit content. And what do I think of that height? It's fine, probably. I'll have a second list of pending strings. Missing strings. And then there's pending strings. Let's link out to Pontoon. Cool. Okay. So I want the individual, the list of missing pending strings to be constrained and scrollable. I am now thinking I don't actually want the list to be scrollable, because then you've got yet another scrollable thing inside of a scrollable thing, and that's an anti-pattern. Like maybe the locales report should be like a separate tab. So it would just show like this, and then we can like do the analysis that we need to do. Train hopping is blocked. That's another thing. That's too extreme. I'm going to say might be blocked. Train hopping might be blocked. Cool. So far, so good. Now what? If new tab, FTL and Nightly is new, I want to link to its revision log. I think we should probably do this one. This might take a little while because it takes a little bit of thinking. I remember this being like annoyingly difficult for the command line version of this, because we have a command line version of this report. I don't know if you knew that, but like there's locales report, and it will basically display how many are pending and how many are missing. I'm actually curious now if I go new tab. Here, let me sort of pump up the font here. Update locales. How many have been provided since? So let's pull in the strings. Sorry. Just checking a message. Yes, I could not attend that meeting. Sorry. Okay. So that is still coming in. Someone is requesting review on something. That's interesting. I might maybe we'll interrupt ourselves to look at that review. This is taking forever. What's going on here? Why is this taking so long to pull down this repository? I mean, it's a big repository, but that is, my network is usually better than that. Is streaming making things slower? I'm not dropping frames. CPU's okay. Well, come on. I don't want to just sit here and watch this. So maybe I'll talk a little bit about this review request that's come in that maybe we can look at. It's something I've been reviewing back and forth. It's to make it so that picture-in-picture is not really designed to work from the sidebar. And so we want to add a restriction for it. Oh, wow, yeah. Doesn't match. Message includes... group. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, this looks great. I should apply this and find out whether or not it works properly, though. Just make sure I run the test. But I have to wait until this pull is done. What is taking so long? 88%. In the meantime, does anyone have any questions? Feel free to just drop questions in the chat. I can try and answer them if they're about new tab or Firefox or the latest goings on. You want me to talk about I don't know, my favorite brand of coffee? What brand of coffee is Mike drinking? Right now I'm not drinking coffee. I have a, interestingly, I noticed this. We bought a case of Coke Zero, and they're really pushing Star Wars, like, it looks like Revenge of the Sith. Like, if you look at the graphic on here, that's like Hayden Christensen as Anakin Skywalker from Revenge of the Sith. That's like decades out of date. Like, I don't know when that movie came out. I don't know why they'd be pushing that right now. But maybe they're just trying to keep like Star Wars in people's minds. Like, oh, don't forget about us. So yeah, brought in a bunch of translations. Now there are some new pending ones as well, because we've since landed strings. But a bunch of new strings came in, and there's only one pending on some, like, a bunch of these have been filled out, which is great, so that there are no missing strings, and only maybe 1 or 2 or 3 pending ones. That's really good. So I was curious about that. ENCA, I should probably do the English ones myself. Someone asked if vacation was good. Vacation was great. I had a really great vacation. I learned to play 4-player cribbage. and I got my butt kicked by a bunch of senior citizens. It's a long story, but 4-player cribbage. It's the gameplay is easy. Strategy and scoring I found remarkably difficult. And it was my first time playing 4-player cribbage. But I was involved in a tournament at a senior citizen center, and don't ask me how I got involved, but I got the floor wiped with me. I wasn't dead last, but I was maybe mid-tier, lower to mid-tier. Not bad for my first time in a tournament. But it's a fun game. Thought you said Quidditch. No, not Quidditch. Cribbage. Or as the folks at the old folks home called it, crib. 4-player crib. If you never played cribbage, you can see this is a purple link because I had never played before and I needed to like quickly brush up on the how to play and like strategies and stuff. So I was like, I had like less than 12 hours to learn before the tournament started. So I'm like cramming and like learning as many strategies as I could. And so I played a bunch of online cribbage. Hold on just a quick sec. What is going on over here? Just bear with me for a sec, folks. Bear with me. Okay. So this patch, what does it do? Like I said, it's attempting to make it so that we don't load the picture-in-picture JS window actors in types of browsers that are not compatible, that don't work properly with it. And in particular, the sidebar browser is one such browser type. And my colleague here has written a patch to do that and has graciously written a test. I want to attempt to apply that patch and see whether or not the test passes, and then see if it does not apply. Maybe I'll just say just patch, not apply to here. For it to do. Checking out a particular revision, applying. Okay, let's build with artifact. In the meantime, let's take a quick peek at how this test works. Sorry, I'm a little distracted. There's okay. So it opens a new tab, a new blank tab. Then we attempt to get at the picture-in-picture actor, make sure that works. Then we open up the sidebar. We attempt to navigate it. Oh, we wait for the browser to load, and then we make sure that the actor cannot be gotten, and then we hide the sidebar. Okay, that seems generally reasonable. Let us now run the test. Oh, give it a sec. Finish building. Here we go. Okay. Come on, test. Run the test. Fail. Special powers destroyed before spawn was resolved. Okay. Okay, what would that mean? Before spawn was resolved. Throws. Oh, yeah, we don't actually need to use the spawn here. I think what we can do is, or do we? Chatbot browser. So what is this test? Browser chatbot. Oh, sorry, wrong repository. There we go. Okay. I don't actually think we need to use spawn here, gang. I think we can. Oh, we do need to do spawn. But because we have the browser, we actually probably want to do this. Assert throws. Here, we can get rid of this. Chatbot browser. Current window global. Browsing context. Current window global. Get actor. And then we can, I think, do this. And that passes. Okay, so that's going to be my recommendation. So I'm going to say, I get this failure when I run this locally. I don't actually think we need to use spawn here to test this, since we have access to the chatbot browser. We can instead try to get at the picture-in-picture parent actor by attempting to access the chatbot browser's browsing content by way of the chatbot browser's current window global. And then I'll supply this instead. We can also use the built-in string matching, regex based string matching from assert.throws. I think that's what I'll recommend. And I'll say thanks. Just one last thing before landing, but this looks good. It looks great. And then approve. Okay. So that's done. And now getting back to this. Where are we at? Yeah, computing the strings that are missing versus the ones that are pending. That is a tricky process. And maybe we can talk a little bit about the algorithm that the command line version of the, locales report uses to make this determination. You know, how does it differentiate between a missing string versus a pending string? Okay, so let's take a look. New tab, mock commands. So what it does, We need some dates to determine which strings are currently awaiting translation and which strings are just missing, which means that they've been available for translation on the beta channel for more than the beta fallback threshold and are still not available. We need to get the last merge date of the current beta and the merge date of the current release. Okay, so it goes and attempts to get the beta skip. I think I've done that part in the patch here. I think we have the beta start date and the release start date. Those merge dates. And now what do I do is we are still waiting for them. So we go through each string, and I should probably sort. They should probably be sorted. Because I don't know if the command actually. No, they will be sorted in the report. Okay, so we don't have to worry about sorting them again. Oh, there's a leftover debug here. That's embarrassing, but this is just a utility. So total missing. Here we go. For missing translation, we're going to get the message ID. We're going to see if the date for. So we have the dates as well for each of the strings. If we go here, we'll see that one of the things that we are given is also the message dates that the strings were introduced, each string. And if that date is less than the release merge date, then anything landed prior to the most recent release merge date has clearly been around long enough to be translated. So that's a missing string. Okay. So there's two conditions. You either landed before the most recent release, in which case you're obviously fine. And then there's the beta fallback threshold, where if you've been on beta and have been there for more than 3 weeks, beta fallback threshold is a 3-week delta, then you're missing. Otherwise, you are pending. That's the algorithm. So we are going to do the same thing in the front end here. And upon reflection, it would have been best probably to encode that in the report itself, and maybe someday. Maybe we'll do that someday. I wanted the report generation to be fairly simple, and then the display could be more complicated. But it does seem like we're repeating ourselves here. Okay, so then for each missing string, we're going to determine which ones are. So this is said missing. I can say missing or pending strings. And then in here, we are going to say const. We're going to sort of like split it up. We're going to produce two lists for let fluent key of missing or pending strings. And we're going to say const missing strings. That I shouldn't say const. This is not let pending strings. The reason I don't say const is because that gives you the false assumption that it's not that it's immutable when the variable is immutable, but what the variable points at is not immutable. Unlike in like other languages like C++ or something, when you set something as const, it really is immutable. In JavaScript, when something is set as const, that just means that the variable can't be overwritten. It doesn't mean that like what it points at can't be changed. So I like to only use consts when I know it's a thing that can't actually change. So in a way, this should also not be const. And this should also not be const, because I'm contradicting myself. Okay. For let fluent key of missing or pending strings, we're going to find what did we do? Where's that algorithm here? We get the ID. And we're going to check message dates. Let introduced date, and that one's const, equals this dot locales report, and then locales report dot message dates. Fluent key message dates, and then that is a string. I'm actually going to turn that into a temporal so we can do some math. MDN temporal parse. How do you parse with temporal? I need some examples of using temporal. Temporal, instant, now, plain date, constructor, plain date. I need an example of using parse date string temporal. Temporal zoned date time. Now, is it in a time zone? It is. Doesn't look like it, so I'm just going to say plain date. Does that work if I go like temporal dot plain date dot from, and then I supply one of these? Like, what happens if I give you this? Ooh, dog. This dog has gas. Whoa. Okay, temporal plain date. Great. That looks right. The 6th of, or sorry, the 3rd of June. I think it's the 3rd of June. Very good. Okay. And then let's see. So we're going to create a, what was the mechanism I just used? Temporal plain date from. Temporal plain date from message dates. So I have my introduced date, and then I want to compare to see whether or not the, what was the algorithm? Is that less than the date of the current release, the merge date when the release currently started? And that is something that I have with release start date. And is that a temporal? Beta start date, release start date? I can't remember. It's a string currently. Let release start equals this dot release start date temporal was release start date. It's just like these plain dates. So if I supply like 2025 0915, yeah, that's fine. Temporal plain date from, and then beta start, and then beta start date. If introduced date, I think I can do this comparison. Let's actually see here. Is that less than temporal plain date dot from 2025-0915. I would expect that to be true, but it doesn't actually let me do that kind of comparison. So how do I compare two dates? Temporal JavaScript compare. Plain time compare? I want plain date compare. Plain date compare. Compare date 1 and date 2. Okay, so I want temporal plain date dot compare, and I get -1, and then if I make this one say like in the past, it's +1. Great. So that's very nice. So if temporal dot plain date compare, if the introduced date is less than the release date, the release start is less than 0, or is -1, then that is a missing string. Missing strings push fluent key. Okay, so that's one. Else, if, what was the next part of the algorithm? If the date is less than the beta merge date, and currently the difference between the beta merge date and now is greater than our threshold, which is 3 weeks, then it's a missing string. Let's see here. So what do I want to do? I want to say if it's less than the beta merge date, if temporal, if it compare, and you are, sorry, if you were introduced before the merge, whoops, and now minus that merge date. So now we have to do like a delta. We want to compare the difference between two dates. So we need to subtract two dates, subtract a duration. So if now subtract that date, I can't subtract a date, I have to subtract a plain date from, subtract when you're until, how do I duration from, representing the state, duration from info. So how do I like temporal subtract date from other date? Since, maybe it's since, where other is a plain date. So then time since. Okay, so if the time since the beta merge date is greater than a duration of 3 weeks, okay, that makes sense. So, and It's going to be kind of a complicated conditional. And temporal dot, so plain date prototype since. So this is on the introduced date. Or no, sorry, the beta start date. Beta start since, or no, now. I need now. Let now equals temporal plain date dot, how do I get now? Plain date. Temporal get now date. Temporal dot now. Plain date. I need a plain date. This is experimental. All right, Firefox has it, so I'll use that. Although I could get the instant and then the instant. Does that give me plain date ISO? Instance also experimental. All right, plain date ISO it is. Yeah, today is September 24th. So let now equal plain date ISO. So if the time since now, since beta start, and then I'm going to compare the two, temporal plain date compare. Oh, I need to compare durations. I need to compare durations. Since it's going to give me a turn value as a duration. How I'm going to compare a duration. Okay. Now since beta start, and we're going to compare that with the beta, what do I call it? Beta fallback threshold. And it's not plain date, it's duration compare. And I want to say if the beta fallback threshold is greater, equals 1, then that's also missing strings.push fluent key. Now I realize these should probably be merged. So here I'll do that. Or else. Can we format this, please? There we go. Else pending strings dot push fluent key, and then we're going to put our missing strings first in this map, missing strings, and then we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to do pending strings, and we're going to just call this fluent key. That is incorrectly spelled. That should be blank. Map. Missing pending. Just fluent key. And down here, fluent key, fluent key. It's a little bit of repetition, but what are you gonna do? Turn that into a function. Maybe I will turn that into a function. Map. This dot render fluent key. And then render fluent key. Return those things. Let's make that private. And then we'll do the same thing. Missing strings map. Render fluent key. And what else? That should be like, yeah. Okay, let's see if that works. That was a lot. Let's see if we've got something that works here. And I'm going to reload. And let's, whoops. Okay, busted. And the reason is because undefined is not a string and locales results 53. Because locales report message dates. Message dates. It's not a plain date. Oh, yeah. Message dates fluent key. And now it's complaining that can't access feature highlight dismiss button in message dates because it's undefined. Really? Message. Oh, message underscore dates. And now it's beta fallback threshold is not defined. Okay, I can work with that. Let beta fallback threshold equal, and then a duration of 3 weeks. Duration from weeks. Duration from 3 weeks. Duration from 3 weeks. All right. Can't compare durations when relative to is undefined on 60. Can't compare durations when relative to is undefined. Relative to. It's apparently optional. Equal component wise case. Okay, relative to a zoned or plain date time that provides the time and calendar information to resolve calendar durations. Relative to. An ISO. Plain date relative to what? Now? I don't know. Now is a plain date. Let's see what it thinks about that. Can't compare durations in line 60. I did supply. Oh, compare. That's all kind of hard to read. A compare. Yeah, compare. Let's see what that does. I think that's still wrong. Key is not defined in 93. It should be fluent. Oh, key, right. locale. Locale key. Dot render map return key float key. Pending strings will do the same thing. All right. Have we done it? Maybe. Missing strings, pending strings. I'll have to analyze these to see if this is right, but let's see if we can do some comparisons. What would be good is key, and then I'm going to say pending, missing, pending strings, length, missing strings dot length, and then I'm going to change the order because pending is more important. So let's see if that matches our current notion. Of what's in the report, and then we're going to call it there. Yeah, you know what? My dislike of using const. I don't dislike using it. I just think it's misleading in JavaScript. And maybe that is something I need to get over. But like, I don't like the fact that you can say something is const and it's still mutable. That seems like you're lying to yourself. But maybe I should just get used to it. Maybe I should just accept that and take the advantage of the fact that, like, well, at least now the variable can't be reassigned. Yeah, maybe that's just my problem. I'm willing to accept that that's my problem. Okay, so new main add origin. And now mock new tab locales report. So it thinks that there are, for ACE, 10 pending translations and 249. Yeah, missing. Yep, that looks right. For ES, 5 and then 9. ES, 5 and then 9. Yeah. Oh man, those don't need to be nearly as tall. Let's quickly change that to be max height. 500 pixels. All right, and then we'll reload. And then scroll, I'll say auto. Only scroll if you need to. Last thing, and then I think I'm going to call it there. Yeah. Cool. Cool. Missing strings, pending strings. Now I know that there are some that probably have actually been supplied since this report was generated. Like, didn't we see that, like, what did we see that had been provided? If I go back in time. Which, HYAM. What strings had been added? Close menu button. custom close menu button. New tab, custom. Why isn't it? Oh, sorry, it's right there. I don't know why I didn't see it. And here we'll see like, hey, it actually does have a string. It is green. It's good to go. I wonder if there's a way of like checking to see, like maybe we can periodically ping Pontoon to see like, yeah, these aren't in the current build, but they have now been supplied. It's worth thinking about. Okay, I am very happy with that. I think I'm going to call it there. Hey, thanks so much for watching episode 416 of The Joy of Coding. I don't know if that was interesting. It was useful for me. This is going to be a useful tool for me. You may not find it very exciting for now, but if all goes well, we might actually pilot out our first train hop to New Tab tomorrow. What that means is QA has given a sign off on the update, and we're going to do our first production train hop, meaning we're going to take code from New Tab that was in 145, package it up as an extension, and deploy it to 143 on release. And we're going to start with just 25% of our release population, make sure that that works properly, and then we'll go to 100%. We're hopefully going to do that tomorrow morning Eastern time. You may or may not be in that initial 25%, and if it goes wrong, we'll just throttle it right back down and revert back to whatever's built in. But if we can get this working, that means then that we can potentially get value, get things to users more quickly. And in particular, we've been tinkering with like improvements with tools and widgets, and we want to get more feedback more quickly. So we're hoping to get that deployment out there so that we can start an experiment that uses these new widgets. Okay, so let me know what you thought. There's a link here to rate this episode here in the agenda. I'll actually I'll go ahead and put a link to that in the chat as well in case you want to fill that out. That's a great opportunity to ask me questions or provide feedback. Let me know what you'd like to see, what you'd like to see more of, what you'd like to see less of. Maybe you'd want me to work on something else. I don't know. So that's done. That's done. Not done that. Maybe we'll do that next time. And I'll hopefully see you next week. I'll be hopefully streaming next week. So have yourselves a great week, everybody. And you know, I hope wherever you are, things are going well, and take care. So have a great week, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
The joy of coding.
See ya.